What are the odds that you are sitting over the top of your daughter's body? She is a floor down, and you are sitting over the top of that exact spot where she would later be found. How is that possible? Okay, so I said I wanted to go over this Vanity Fair article with you guys because I felt like it was very telling to some of the things. And like I said, man, in the last video, some of the things that stuck out in this article to me were just, man, that is weird. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Oh, and I should say, this is coming from the Crime Record channel. I started another channel just for basic reading stuff. And so these readings are coming from the Crime Record, and that's TheCrimeRecord, the Crime Record. It's like a blue logo. If you're interested in just kind of hearing the readings of this stuff, trying to produce those every 2 days and stuff like that. So here we go. From the magazine, Vanity Fair, October 1997 issue, by Anne Louise Bardock. October 1, 1997. JonBenét Ramsey, missing innocence. The Christmas night murder of a 6-year-old beauty pageant winner, JonBenét Ramsey, in Boulder, Colorado, shocked the country and turned her millionaire parents, John and Patsy, into suspects. With sources deep inside the investigation and among Ramsey relatives and friends, Anne Louise Bardock reveals the story behind the dreadful crime and the bitter split between the DA's office and the police department. Patrol Officer Richard French got to the home of John and Patsy Ramsey in the Tony neighborhood adjacent to Chautauqua Park in Boulder, Colorado, within 7 minutes of Patsy Ramsey's 911 call reporting that their 6-year-old daughter, child beauty pageant winner JonBenét, had been kidnapped. It was 5:52 a.m. on December 26th, and the distraught and weeping mother, a former Miss West Virginia and Miss America contender, let French in. John Ramsey directed me through the house and pointed out a 3-page handwritten note which was laid on the wooden floor just west of the kitchen area. And I'm stopping it right here really quickly just to say, in one article, so French arrived like within he was called at 5:52. The call took about 1 minute and 5 seconds. So 5:53, 15 seconds, if we're assuming that it was at 5:52. He got there within like a minute. He said about 5:55 ish. And so it's like, so when he gets there, John is ready. So when we're talking about what happened after the 911 call, apparently they went on a spree of essentially they would have to get on the phone. Hey, get over here right now. Get on the phone. Hey, get over here right now. Hey, get on the phone. Hey, get over here right now, to their friends, just to kind of get them to come. Because if Patsy was laying on when French got there, if Patsy was just, because it's like, I don't know, man. I guess I'm just, if Patsy was laying in the big chair in the living room or in the den or whatever you want to call it, where the Christmas tree was, where they opened presents and stuff like that, if she's laying in there on the big chair and she's just distraught, and obviously, they come in, Officer French comes in, and he's sort of, what's going on? John jumps up. He says, hey, I got it. This is what's going on. And Patsy just kind of laying in there distraught, waiting for her friends to get over there. How do we go from, it almost seems as if Patsy just kind of like said, okay, you're here. I can just let go and just give the situation to you guys is what it almost seems like. Not a big deal, but just something I'm kind of interested in, French reported. Subsequently, French told colleagues that he had been struck by how differently the two parents were reacting. While John Ramsey, cool and collected, explained the sequence of events to him, Patsy Ramsey sat in an overstuffed chair in the sunroom, sobbing. Something seemed odd to French, and later he would recall how the grieving mother's eyes stayed riveted on him. He remembered her gaze and her awkward attempt to conceal it, peering at him through splayed fingers held over her eyes. 7 hours later, that to me is weird. Let me let me paint the picture of what's going on here. This is what this man is saying. He said, I got here and it was weird because they just started, when I walked in the door, they just start talking to me. And I'm saying, okay, cool. But as you're talking to me, I'm kind of looking around and checking things out. But then when I get here, he's up, John is up talking to me, and he's like sprung into action, superhero John. You know, we know John's being John. But Patsy is over here on this chair, just kind of like tripping, doing her thing. No problem. No issue. But what he's saying is Patsy was sitting there like this. And instead of like, oh my God, I can't take it anymore, I lost my baby. Instead of her hands being like this to where you cannot see her eyes, her hands were like this. Like, bruh. Her hands, not like this, like this. And you can see even like that. You can see my eye. That is weird. Why because Patsy has these very distinct and memorable piercing eyes. So does Burke. He inherited that from his mom. And I'm kind of wondering where Patsy got those eyes from. But at any rate, maybe Don had them. I don't think Nidra had them. Maybe it's like somewhere off in her family tree. But it's like Patsy had those distinct eyes. Maybe they were fake. Maybe they were contacts. I don't know. But it couldn't be because Burke had them. But she has these distinct eyes. And what he's saying is she is peering through and she's watching. Bro, what? Watching you? You're watching me? You're over in the chair. Oh my God, I can't. I feel that because I feel that because if I walk in your house and I don't know nothing, I don't know anything, and I come in and I'm looking around, I'm literally just looking around, observing. And as I'm observing, my eyes see your hands and I'm just looking over and my eyes see your hands and I catch a glimpse of a blue eye staring at me through the fingers while you are crying. That makes me feel some type of way. That makes me feel super uneasy. Now I'm uneasy up in here because something is wrong because you watching me. That means that your eyes, as I walk through this house, because you're sitting on the big chair. I come in through the kitchen or wherever I come through the front door and I come in, I'm talking to John. John is like, hey, let me take you over where it was. That means you're kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe this is, oh, my baby. But you're watching me because I'm not seeing you. I'm not supposed to see you. You're going like this every time I see you, though. When I see you, you're like, oh my God, I just can't. Oh my God. Because when I got here, you didn't come up to me. You didn't come up to me and say, hey, oh my God, absolutely. You weren't standing there beside John saying, yeah, absolutely everything he's saying, I found, because you found the letter. I need you here. You told me you found the letter. I need you here standing up telling me, okay, what happened? What did you see? What did you find? But instead of you telling me what you found when you found the letter, because you're the first point of contact, right? You're the first person who saw this. I need you here telling me what happened from the very get-go. Really, not John. And even if John is telling me, then I need you here. But I do have to wonder now, why is John here telling me what happened and showing me, my wife found the letter over here, and this is what we did. Why aren't you up hysterical? Oh my God, I found the letter over here, and I ran back upstairs and I checked the room and it wasn't there, and I ran over to Burke's room and I said, Burke, your sister is, and I just lost it, and I ran upstairs to John, and we were thinking about calling you guys, and I just, I don't know what happened. I just blacked out. Why aren't we hearing that story come straight from you as the first point of contact with this letter to know everything? Like, why is John immediately from the get-go being cool, calm, and collected and saying, this is what happened? Patsy, you sit over there and cry. I'm not saying tears are fake. I'm just saying it's a little weird that you you were watching me through your hands and I caught you. It's a little weird that he was able to, because that's a detail that somebody says that they weren't supposed to see. That's how you can kind of go to the validity of it, because it's like an off the cuff comment to where I wasn't even supposed to see this, but I saw it and I watched this woman, and because that's something that when you see it, it kind of like makes you feel uneasy in your stomach. And even though like you keep looking around, not paying attention to it, it's something that stays in your mind as you're continuing to investigate. And you're like, what the heck was that look for? You know what I mean? And as you go home and you're writing your report, as you go back to the office and you're writing your report, you're like, what the heck was that look for? And then you go home and you're talking to your spouse or something like that, and you're like, she was looking at me funny. What the heck was that look for? Peering at me through her hands is crazy work. The body of the child was found in a storage room in the basement. French told fellow officers that he felt awful that he had not discovered it himself in his search of the house. For months, he berated himself as he relived every moment of his hours there. While Patsy had wept inconsolably, a dry-eyed John Ramsey had paced incessantly. Later, French recalled that the couple had barely spoken to or looked at each other, though they were faced with the most calamitous tragedy of their lives. He did not see them console each other. But it was the image of Patsy weeping and watching him that haunted French, especially after he learned that she had been sitting directly over the spotless, then 15 feet below, where her child's body lay. That is crazy. That is crazy work. What are the odds that you are sitting over the top of your daughter's body? She is a floor down, and you are sitting over the top of that exact spot where she would later be found. How is that possible? And at the same time, as we sit here, as I walk her, I just got here several hours earlier. You're watching me through your eyes. That concerns me and that scares me to death. That is weird. Man, the more I look at this case, it gets weirder and weirder. The actions get weirder and weirder. Like, it's not, this is not normal to try to check and see what I'm doing. Like, you should not be trying to check and see what I'm doing. You should be like, yo, whatever I can help, or I'm done. I'm out of the picture. Don't ask me anything. I am distraught. I should not look over and catch you looking through your eyes at me, trying to track me and see what I'm doing. That is so freaking weird. Ramseys, with JonBenét and their son Burke, had had Christmas dinner at the home of their best friends, Priscilla and Fleet White Jr., a mile or so away. After Ramsey had moved his computer company from Atlanta, Georgia to Boulder in 1991, the Whites and the Ramseys found that they had much in common. Fleet White was also a successful tycoon in the oil business. Both couples enjoyed sailing and had 6-year-old girls with older brothers. Neither Patsy nor Priscilla worked, but both were committed volunteers. When John Ramsey had decided to throw his wife a surprise 40th birthday party a month earlier, on November 30, he turned to Priscilla to organize the event at the Swank Brown Palace in Denver. According to police reports, the Ramseys arrived home from the Whites about 10 p.m. At 5:55 a.m., the Whites were awakened by John Ramsey, who told them to hurry right over. By 6:20, the Whites were there, joined by other friends John and Barbara Fernie, and later by the Ramseys' minister, Father Roll Hoverstock. Several uniformed policemen assisted Rick French until 8:10 a.m. when Detective Linda Arndt arrived. Arndt's supervisor, Detective Sergeant Larry Mason, would get to the house later that day. The initial team assumed that the troubled, affluent couple were victims, not potential murder suspects. They even summoned 2 victim advocates to the house to comfort them. Arndt, in particular, who was described by fellow officers as having bonded with Patsy Ramsey, made several critical and possibly irreparable errors in judgment. And that's why I'm confused at who made the call. Because here we have 6:20, Fleet White. That would essentially mean that Fleet White and Priscilla had to get up. We have our, we have to get up and we have to make sure our kids are good. And if we have family members over, we have to make sure that we check with the family members and say, hey, we got our friend is in trouble. We got to run over there, got to get dressed. And oh my God, hey, we got to run. We got to run. Please, 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 please watch the kids. And that's how that's going to go. So they get over there at 6:20. They get over there at 6:20. But John it's saying at 5:55, John called. And so if he's pulling up, you know what I mean? Like if he's pulling up, if Patsy is so distraught, which I don't know if she is or not, then either she made the call or he made the call. But French is pulling up, he's coming in, the boom, 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 knocking on the door. Then they're like, hey, and they hear the door, they're talking to whoever, and then they hear the door. Oh, hey, gotta go. Could you please come over really quickly? I don't know. The ransom note warned the couple not to contact the police, but to await a phone call between 8 and 10 that morning. Arndt wrote in her report that between 10:30 and noon, John Ramsey left the house to pick up the family mail, which she later saw him open and read. At 1 p.m., when no call had come, await a phone call between 8 and 10 that morning. Arndt wrote in her report that between 10:30 and noon, John Ramsey left the house to pick up the family mail, which she later saw him open and read. At 1 p.m., when no call had come, Arndt asked Ramsey and Fleet White to follow her to the kitchen. An investigator described the scene. She said, just an unimportant note, maybe, left between 10:30 and noon, so that could have accounted for the time that he was gone. And he would, so because they asked him that, he was asked somewhere, where were you? And he said, I was upstairs looking. He said, I was upstairs looking for the killer. I was looking to see where the killer was. And so essentially what's being, set forth here is that John either left the premises for that hour and a half period that he was unaccounted for, or he stayed there, but he just couldn't be found. And I guess to me, it's more likely it could be possible that he was gone altogether, because if you're still there, then somebody's going to come looking for you and you're going to know it. But it's only when you're not there, you don't really know what's going on and you don't think people miss you and you're really gone longer than you expect to be gone. And so when people are like, "Hey, where were you? We were looking for you." And it's, "Oh, so the excuse that you have, like, think about it like this. If you're at work and you go for a lunch break and your lunch break is only like 30 minutes but it's like, man, I want to go to Subway and Subway is like, 10 minutes away. And so I drive 10 minutes. So that's 20 minutes already. And so I get there to Subway, right? It takes time enough. It takes 10 minutes, but it actually takes 15 minutes because of traffic. It's everybody's trying to get there at noon. So I run into a bit of traffic, the train tracks, and I'm describing a real situation. The train tracks get in the way. The train tracks, what you call it's actually the arms actually come down and stop me. And I'm like, dang, there's 5 minutes. Train is coming slow. And so like that's 15 minutes. And so I run and get my stuff and I go there to order and like freaking everybody's there, like everybody is there. They're going slow. That's 15, 20 minutes, man. My break is almost gone. 20 minutes. Yeah, the break is gone. But I still got a 10, 15-minute drive back home and I'm already 5 minutes over. But I don't know if somebody's actually back at the job site. I don't know that they're looking for me. I hope they're not looking for me, but I don't know because I'm not there. You see what I'm saying? And so I don't feel the weight of somebody being there looking for me. I don't know if somebody was like, "Hey, Kato, are you here? Hey, Kato, hey, hey, hey." And everybody's like looking for me. You know what I mean? So I don't know that. You wouldn't feel that. But if you're actually there, you would feel the weight of having to return because people would be able to call on you. And so once you get back to kind of finish that story, once you get back from Subway, you're like, "What's going on?" And you don't really know the weight of people calling for you. But if you're at the house and people are like, "Where's John? What's John up to? Hey, somebody please get John. Patsy is inconsolable." Where would you be going? Where would you be? I mean, I hope you're in the house because like, where would you be going when we're in the middle of trying to find your daughter? Like we're in the middle of trying to find your daughter and you're talking about going and getting the mail. It took you an hour and a half to go and get the mail. I don't know, man. Like, and of course he said, "Oh, I was checking the mail to see if they had left anything, to see if they had left anything. They said they're going to call you. Why would they have anything in the mail?" But it's just like, I don't know. Maybe it was nervous energy. Maybe it's nervous energy to kind of say, "Hey, I want to go check the mail because I just need to get this energy off of me." Maybe so. As that's how Linda Arndt described it. He was all up in her face, like, "Well, what do we do next? What's going on?" And that's why she told him go downstairs. And so I'm just a little concerned about that window. Like, where would you be going and why would you be leaving? "I want you to search this house from top to bottom." She had barely finished speaking when John Ramsey bolted from the kitchen and headed down to the basement. Fleet White told us that Ramsey went directly to a small broken window on the north side of the house and paused. Fleet said to Ramsey, "Hey John, look at this." And John said, "Yeah, I broke it last summer." He wanted Fleet to see the window to set up an intruder theory. But no one but a small child or a midget could have crawled through that space. While Fleet is looking at the window, John disappears down the hall directly to the little room where the body is. It's a huge basement with a lot of rooms and corridors. But Ramsey went directly to that room. He screamed, and Fleet ran to him. "You know how many rooms are in that basement? Come on and talk to me. You know how many rooms are in that basement? Hey, yo, that room, bruh." I just I have to show you better than I can tell you. So this is the basement. This is the broken window, right? No sooner had Linda Arndt said, "Why don't you guys go look from John is gone." He's not going from top to bottom. He's already in the basement. and he runs straight over here, right here where the window is broken. And Fleet says, "Hey, John, would you look at that?" And John is like, "Yeah, man, I broke that already." But if this window is open, listen to me. If this window is open and it wasn't, if this window is open and he found it open, knowing what we know about JonBenét being kidnapped, that guy or these men are gone. Period. There's no need to look. There's no need to look any further. This man is gone. He's already, if we're saying that, hey man, I know that window is broken. I actually broke that last summer, but that window is closed. But now you see that the window is open when you go over there. This person is gone. Your immediate response would be to run upstairs and tell the police, oh my God, this window that I broke last summer is open. I think the person was waiting on us. I think we woke up and we startled the person and they were waiting on us and they're gone. I think they snuck out through this window. Please come see. That's what John was supposed to do. That's the first of all. Second of all, when you come down these stairs, they bolted right to this window. There's a closet right here. There's a closet right here. There's a laundry room right here. There's a little closet right here that we've seen. And there is a storage room right here. And you remember, if you go back and look at the radar online walkthrough of the house, you remember that we saw some of the golf clubs up in here. And we saw some, this room is just kind of very messy. This was the laundry room with all of the Christmas decorations and stuff like that. You know that. I think there were some chairs and stuff, right? I think there was like a sink right here, some chairs and stuff like that. Whatever. And this is the place to where Patsy was telling us that she had, when she hosted the tour, the home tour, like a year prior, when she hosted the home tour, the volunteers were down here, right? The volunteers were down here. And not only that, people were down here for construction and stuff like that to kind of work on the home and make some improvements and whatnot. So people are going in and out of this space, whatnot. But what John did was he came downstairs from the upstairs, from the first floor, and he skips this. He skips this piece. Now, hold on just a second. Okay, so this is the first floor, okay? So what Officer French did was he came through this front door, right? He came through this front door and he's standing in the foyer. John meets him at this front door. Here's a fireplace. Here's a living room where they open the presents and stuff like that, where you see the big tree. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong. But I think when they say the sunroom, they mean the solarium. This is where Patsy was sitting in the solarium in the sunroom, crying her eyes out, so to speak. But you have the dining room, the breakfast nook, and the kitchen, right? So I may be inclined to think that this is where the pineapple, this breakfast room is where the pineapple was found. This is where the pineapple bowl and the tea glass was found. But when you come in, you see the kitchen, and I think these are the stairs to the basement, right? So you got the foyer and you got the stairs to the basement. And then you got the fireplace, and he comes and he looks and he's like talking to John, and maybe they're standing here, or they're standing here in the foyer, or standing here in the living room, and they look over and I can see Patsy looking through her fingers at me, and I'm freaked out by that. And so, but I said, you know what, we're going to go and we're going to do whatever. But Linda Arndt is here. They're talking, and I think going through right here, possibly heading toward, because you see over here, here's the garage, spiral staircase, study. I think this would be close to the back of the home. But anyways, yeah, so here's a staircase in the study, lower hall. And here's where Patsy found the ransom note, right here. But we end up in here. And so Patsy ends up in the big chair over here, where they would later find the body, if I'm correct. So maybe they would later find the body here. But anyways, as John, as Linda Arndt is maybe right here, because she, saw him checking his mail in the kitchen, as she's sort of talking right here or standing somewhere around here, telling him and Fleet about everything, instead of running upstairs or over here, or garage or whatever, or even running upstairs to check on the second floor or on the third floor. Because remember, we haven't checked Burke's room at all yet. We don't know what's going on there. And I think at this point, yes, Burke is gone. So you can search his room. Burke is gone. He's gone out crying. I think he went out around 7:30 or something like that, prior to Linda Arndt arriving. They're standing right here talking closer to, well, yeah, no. Yeah, Burke is gone. Burke is gone a long time ago, because this is closer to 12:31 p.m., something like that. He comes back, he's checking the mail. And so they evolve. And then, John is a little antsy. And so at about 1 p.m., okay, cool. At about 1 p.m., Linda's standing right here talking. This is my assumption. I could be wrong. They're standing right here talking. She's talking to Fleet and John, and she says, "Guys, go check." Instead of running up the stairs, John runs downstairs and Fleet follows. Two, boom, 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 boom. And instead of going right here and then going here and here and here, he goes straight, boom, boom, boom. Almost like that. Straight over here and he looks at this. And Fleet is like, "Hey, what's going on with this?" And John says, "I broke that last summer. But like I said, this door is open, or this window is open. So that intruder is gone. I called the cops down. Hey, cops, could you please come look at this? I found a window that was broken earlier, and whatever." But the funny thing about this, and that I'm wondering about, is Officer French just didn't open this door because he didn't see an escape route. That's what I'm saying. Nowhere did it say that he failed to check everything else, because this is an escape route. This is an escape route. And this is an escape route. This is a window. These are windows, and these are windows. He just didn't open this because there was a latch and it didn't seem like there was an escape route. So I feel like Officer French would have checked this, and this may have been what he called Fleet White over and said to him, and said on the low, "Hey, yo, Fleet, what's up with your boy?" Because, and Officer French may have been talking to Detective Whitson and said, "Hey, yo, when I checked everywhere earlier, I didn't see that window broken. But now all of a sudden it's broken. Fleet, maybe I'm tripping. Did you see that window open earlier? Detective Whitson, did you see that window open earlier? Forensic detectives, did you see that window open earlier? Because I ain't see it." Because all the cops said, everything looks secure. There doesn't seem to be any disturbances around the house. But all of a sudden, a disturbance that everyone missed all of a sudden pops up. Everyone missed this disturbance that was wide open. Everyone missed this disturbance that was wide open. You can't miss this. If you walk through and you walk up to this window, jar the window. All right, cool. You can't miss this. You'd see it. It was as big as that hole was. You would see something's wrong with this. And that's probably why the cops called Fleet over and said, "What's going on? Talk to me." And Fleet was probably like, "Man, I don't know. That's my friend. I know he wouldn't do anything crazy. But man, I don't know. You're right. You got a point. Because when I came down there and I looked at this, I ain't see nothing, officer. I didn't." But back to my point at hand, very interestingly, John came straight down the stairs and went boom, boom. If you remember, there is this in this closet, there was a poster on this uh, wall, the officer and the gentleman. If you go back and look at the Radar Online tour of the house, I think the second one they have, there's officer and a gentleman poster right here on this wall. I think this was full of like ski jackets or stuff like that. There was a sort of like something, I can't remember what it was, but around it was wood shavings and stuff like that down here on the floor right here. And then right here was like a little table or like a little sink or something like that across this wall. And of course you have the train set right here. You have some of the paintings right here. And you have some of the paintings up here, and then you have the suitcase right here. But right here, there was a can of either Dr. Pepper or Coke sitting right here on this little table. And of course, we know right here for the laundry room, I think there was like a sink right here, and there was like a chair sitting in front of the sink, I think. And then in this laundry room this is where Patsy was wrapping. She was wrapping the gifts and stuff like that. We saw all of again, in the Radar Online video, we saw all of this stuff kind of sitting right there. And in the storage room, this is where we saw sitting right here on this wall, as soon as you go in, the golf clubs that were sitting, some of the golf clubs that were sitting in there. And I think one that was here, but, mysteriously ended up over here and whatnot. And so this room is just really messy. It seems to be like a window right here too. So it's like a window right here, window right here. So when they went through and secured everything, they probably went through and said, okay, oh, well, dang. Looks like there's a window right here, a window right here, a window right here, one right here, right here. Don't see anything right here. Boom. So that's like maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 exit points. Okay. I'd be interested to know if there's anything under these points or around these points, like, because we know right here that there is like a step up and through the vent, and somebody can actually go through here. But I wonder if there's anything around here as well, and right here that somebody could like step on and get in and get out. Because to be honest with you, if this person knew the house as we're claiming, as well as we're claiming, then if they really knew the house like that, then they probably would have gone out this window. But I guess if they knew John Ramsey and they've been watching John Ramsey, then they knew that he broke this last summer, and so they would sneak through this window. Probably not going to be Linda or Bill, because they're too old to be going through windows. You know what I mean? Probably not going to be Mervin, because he's too old to be going through these windows. He has a key to the house. Why would I sneak out of the window when I have the key to the house? I'm just going to walk out the front door. Why would I do that? You know what I mean? So whoever this person is probably going to sneak out through here. But anyways, John comes through here and goes straight over here. Shows Fleet White this and then bounces. And instead of going to the crawl space and checking anything, mind you, he should have gone upstairs and said, hey, there's a broken window here, but I did that, but the window's open. He should have gone upstairs and allowed the investigators to come down and look. But instead of doing that, instead of going over here and checking this out and digging through and tearing this room up, instead of going through here and digging and tearing this room up, instead of going through here and whatever, instead of going in this closet and this closet, instead of going through any of these places that are available, he said, Uno skip, Uno skip, Uno skip, Uno skip, skip. Go up here, Uno reverse, go back this way to the boiler room, Uno skip the boiler room, and go straight into the wine cellar. So basically, boom, boom. I just went right here and I went right here. Why? Why? That is not a logical path to go. That is not a logical thing to do, because the logical thing to do would have been to call the cops. You called him over when you first got the ransom note, even though you were told not to call in the ransom note. Even though you were told not to call in the ransom note, you did it anyway. And you were ready to get the cops involved. But how is it that when there is something that the cops need to see, you don't call them? Linda told you not to go down there and touch anything, but somehow, some way, you went down there, looked at a broken window that was open, and didn't say anything to the cops. You went and looked around some more, but you didn't look around. You went straight to the wine cellar, and you skipped a bunch of places where there were exit points. You skipped a bunch of places where this person could have been hiding, but now you don't have to look at those places where he's hiding because this person is gone. What are we looking for now? Tell me, what are we looking for at this point? Because why are we coming straight over here? Why are we coming straight over here? Why are we in the wine cellar? For what? What's that for? Why did we come directly to the wine cellar? How is that a logical path? That does not make sense. How are we over here? What? Help me. Please tell me the logic in going from the storage room where there's a broken window. Now that we've identified that this guy is completely gone, we just missed him. Apparently, we just missed him. If we just missed him, why would we go to the wine cellar? If we just missed him, we would come back and go up the stairs and talk to Linda Arndt and say we found something. Wouldn't we? Because now we could piece together. The theory becomes, I think we just missed them. I think they were gone. All units need to circle the area because Whitson and company were already kind of looking when they were coming back from the meeting, and Linda Arndt was calling them up and saying, hey man, I might need you. They were already coming back. They were in the meeting for a little bit, but they were coming back and they were like kind of canvassing the area and kind of looking around and knocking on doors. Oh, this person's not home. Oh, we looked around here, didn't see anything, checking with people, asking people if they saw anything. Nobody seems to have seen anything. We would have probably, been able to see somebody running out at this time. It's 12:30, one in the afternoon, and the next day. Kids are out. Trust me. Kids are out. Families are out the next day, or they're on vacation, but kids are out. Families are out playing with their toys. That's what I'm saying. Somebody would have had to see something, but maybe everybody's inside. I don't know. Maybe it's a quiet neighborhood. But we go from here to over here. How do we do that? Why? Why isn't she down here in the boiler room? Like, why isn't she in this little space right here? Why didn't Fleet say that we came here and then we looked around here around the corner because there's a little space right here? Why didn't we look in that? I don't understand that. We open the door and we immediately maybe turn on the light, maybe not. Just depends on if John wants to remember what he did or not. We immediately look in the wine cellar. How? Doesn't make sense, man. He screamed and Fleet ran to him. White had previously peered into that windowless storage room, but had not seen the body. Lying on the cement floor was the lifeless JonBenét, dressed in a white knit shirt and long underwear. There was duct tape over her mouth. A garrote made of white cord and a broken artist's paintbrush handle was around her throat, and there was a cord around her right wrist. The body was covered with a white blanket from her bed. Nearby was her red pageant nightgown, described by a relative as her favorite possession. Ramsey yanked the tape from her mouth and, according to the investigator, holding her with both hands around her at the waist, the way you would hold a doll, carried her upstairs and laid her on the hardwood floor in the living room. What was interesting was when Ramsey brought the body upstairs, he never cried, related a source present at the time. But when he laid her down, he started to moan while peering around to see who was looking at him. Linda Arndt lifted the child from the floor and placed her alongside the Christmas tree. Patsy collapsed right on top of JonBenét, said the source. And then she got on her knees and screamed, "Jesus, you raised Lazarus from the dead. Please raise my baby." Arndt asked Father Roll to gather everyone into a circle around the child and lead them in prayer. Numb with grief and horror, they bowed their heads and said the Lord's Prayer. The following evening at the Fernie's house in South Boulder, Linda Arndt approached John Ramsey, but Ramsey's lawyer friend Mike Bynum cut off the conversation, telling Arndt that legal advisors had been retained. What are we talking about? Why are you here, Mike? Are you the legal advisor? What are you doing here? I'm just trying to talk to your boy. Immediately when we come out of, I'm just trying to talk to you, man. We come out of on the 27th. It's like, oh man, we talked to you on the 27th. I mean, okay, if this is the 27th, the next day, this is the 27th. Did you really talk to me, or did what happened? Because this is not talking to me. If I come to talk to you and ask you some stuff, and you rebuff me and be like, yo, just so you know, he's obtained legal counsel. We haven't even asked him any questions yet. Maybe I'm tripping. Lawyer friend Mike Bynum cut off the Lord's Prayer. The following evening at the Fernie's house in South Boulder, Linda Arndt approached John Ramsey, but Ramsey's lawyer friend Mike Bynum cut off the conversation. The following evening would be maybe around 4 p.m. on the 27th. 4 p.m., 5, 6, maybe, on the 27th. Cops are approaching you to talk, and you've already obtained counsel the next day? Why? You've already obtained counsel the next day? That's pretty early. Now, if the story is that we only obtained counsel when the cops wouldn't look at anyone except for us, they didn't look at you at all. They didn't have time. They did not do a thorough investigation, because that's what John Ramsey's been saying. He's been saying that the cops would only look at him. Well, if it's the next day, the next evening, we're not really looking at anyone. We're just coming to ask questions, and you've already retained counsel. That means through the night you've been busy. That means as soon as you left here yesterday, and I don't know what time they actually left the house on the 26th. I don't know what time they actually left the house, or they were actually put out of the house. But that means that any lawyer I know would have been on vacation on the 26th. Any lawyer I know would have probably, especially a high profile lawyer who makes money, they would have been on vacation with their family. Been on vacation. Not taking any calls except from somebody in their inside circle. That's how that goes. I remember when you get up in your career and you have time, people, especially around the holidays, people take it. And I mean that. I remember when I was working in corporate, I was working, and the actuaries were on the other side of we had, so there's a split in upstairs, on the upstairs floor, and the actuaries were on the other side. You could just go straight through to the other side and see the actuaries working. All of them had really good vacation packages. When I tell you they were gone prior to Christmas, I think a lot of them were gone. It was only one or two of them left in the office sparingly. Came in real quick to do some work and then leave. I'm going to be working from home or whatever they were doing. They were all out of the office because they make money. And I got a good vacation package. I don't need to be here. I want to go spend time with my family. I'm telling you, the month of December, they were gone, using all my vacation time. And I was like, golly, how much vacation time do they have? I need to be doing that. Went over there were no actuaries. And because they get a good compensation, they get a good vacation package. And I was like, well, dang, when are they coming back? And I don't think they came back till after New Year's sometime. Like they even took New Year's off. So they didn't come back till after New Year's and stuff like that. So I was like, dang, man, I need to do something like that, man. I need to. So the next year I saved up all my time. She's like, man, I at least want to be gone from, Christmas till, New Year's. I don't want to be back until after New Year's. I want to roll it all in. They stopped me from doing that. They prevented me from doing that. And I was like, oh, you got to come back in at least one day. And I was like, oh my God. But if anybody is worth their weight in gold and they have the money, the high profile that they have, they're going to be gone. So somebody has to be on the inside. Somebody has to know them well enough to be able to contact them and bring them back to work. Somebody has to be connected to them enough to call them and that was probably Mike Bynum. Call them and say, hey, Haddon, Morgan, I got a guy that might need your assistance for real, for real. I've been talking to him since last night and this is an emergency, especially to call these guys the day after Christmas, because if you don't have to go in the day after Christmas, you ain't going. So for Mike Bynum to be able to get in touch with these guys, there was a connection, and that's something that y'all been working on for the entire night. So while the police had gone home and gone to sleep, y'all were working around the clock. Working around the clock to escape something. I don't know why that was quick. You retained counsel quick. Before we had a chance to even look at anything, counsel was retained. Why? So then that tells me that you're lying. Cops didn't target you from the very beginning. That's bullcrap. They didn't even have a chance to target you. They didn't have a chance to look at anything. If you're retaining counsel the very next day, we didn't have a chance to do anything. You were blocking me from the beginning. You were blocking me from the beginning is what that means. I didn't even have a chance to ask you questions. And so now you got your attorneys with me. Oh, we came down with your attorneys present or under the counsel of your attorneys. And if you showed up to the police department without your attorneys, it's because they were not back in town yet. And they said, simply go down there, submit samples, and leave. Go down there, don't answer a lot of questions, leave. Wait till we get back and you can then answer questions. But see, the timeline starts to kind of get very, very tight, because on the 28th, I know they went in, but on the 28th, I think they had their attorneys with them. And they probably came back because they knew they were going to make a lot of money. That's the number one motivator. Because on the 28th, we come back, answer questions. On the 29th, answer questions. But as we said before, we are trying to get that body. We're trying to get the body of JonBenét. We're trying to get the body of JonBenét to Atlanta. We got to have the body to Atlanta at least for a couple hours, because we've got to prepare the body, because the funeral is going to be on the 31st. And so we got to prepare. We got to get in contact with anybody in Atlanta who's going to prepare it. We got to get JonBenét. We got to get her transported over there. However they did it, they may have had to fly her over. Pick out the casket, pick out everything else, and get her in the ground and buried as fast as possible. Because that was a quick turnaround. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was a little bit of a quick turnaround. I mean, it's reasonable, but it's a little bit of a quick turnaround. Okay, cool. You got her taken care of. But then I think John John flew over in his jet or in his plane. He flew the family over to Georgia, probably on the 30th and whatnot, to stay with family. So this is a very tight timeline, and it's hard and so basically immediately, probably around the 29th, you become unavailable. So we really haven't had time. My point is, we really haven't had time to talk to you. We really haven't had time to collect anything because you're gone. You're in Atlanta. So we haven't had time to go over anything really. I mean, we've had one interview, and that's like a fact-finding interview. That's an initial interview. We're going to have to come back to you and ask for clarification. We have to pull out a lot of information from this interview to figure out where to go. But like, we're going to have to like fact find a lot of stuff, and go back and check a lot of things. We're going to have to get, warrants and everything. So we're going to have a lot more questions that we need to follow up on. You see what I'm saying? So like, that's what makes this weird. Telling Arndt that legal advisors had been retained to speak for the Ramseys. The next day, the police were informed that the Ramseys had nothing more to say and would answer no further questions. That's on the 28th. So Linda came on the 27th. Advisors have been retained. On the 28th, we ain't got nothing else to say. We haven't asked you anything. What? Although John Ramsey was a lifelong conservative Republican, he turned to Haddon, Morgan and Foreman, a law firm almost synonymous with Colorado's Democratic political machine. Take a look at their offices here in Denver, says Chuck Green, a columnist at the Denver Post, referring to the gated mansion that houses the firm. Then take a walk over to the governor's mansion a few blocks away and tell me which one is bigger, and I'll tell you which one is more powerful. During the 70s and 80s, Hal Haddon ran Gary Hart's campaign for senator and was an advisor on his presidential campaign. Haddon became known as a power broker and kingmaker and had a reputation for socializing with clients such as Hunter S. Thompson, Governor Roy Romer, former Governor Richard Lamb, and Congressman David Skaggs are all political allies of Haddon's, as is Alex Hunter, Boulder's longtime district attorney. Somebody had to have the connections, and John seems to have found. Now, John and Patsy were connected as well, but John seems to have found the one with the connection. That's how it goes, huh? The people with the money seem to find each other effortlessly, and we link up. Hey, yo, politics aside, can you help me out? I'm in a bit of a bind. You really gotta be desperate to cross party lines. You know what? Let's not even talk politics. Let's just talk about this right now. But I go to the top because this guy has connections that I don't even have to build. I don't even have to pour into that. He already has these connections. He already has a system set up, and this is the way the top law firms work. They already have a system of things they do, people that they're connected with. It's like if you are a I don't want to say a real estate agent, but you are a property owner and you fix and flip homes. It takes you a little time, but you build up your team of contractors. You know what contractors are good for what. You build up your team of people that you can go to for making custom things for houses that you're going to, work and remodel and stuff like that. Those people, you got 2 or 3 people on that end, the 2 or 3 different crews that can come help you demo the house and stuff like that. You got everybody, and you'll probably be there too. If you got couple property managers that you probably turn, and if you have a well-oiled system that you turn to, a couple property managers that can kind of make sure that all your properties and all your tenants are paying their rent and everything is running smoothly. You take time to build that up. And so those are your resources. You become resourceful. And so the same thing with lawyers. They have investigators, they have PR people. When I was going to USC, One of my professors was a jury. She was a jury like analyst or something like that. That's not the term, but basically what she did was she would survey the jury to kind of see or get a sense of which way the jury was leaning and stuff like that, to kind of understand essentially how do we best craft our argument to make sure that it is heard effectively. I don't think it's for the purpose of manipulation in that case, but it's for the purpose of trying to understand how do we best craft our story or our narrative to where people will hear us instead of cutting us off. Because you don't want to be in there trying to, be irresponsible and just, try to make people believe you. Listen to me. Listen, it's common sense. You don't want to be doing that. But, if these people are a group of people that understand language that is a little bit softer, then you want to be in there and say, okay, think about this. Think about your mom. Think about your dad. You want to speak in those terms. But if these are people who are just like, talk to me straight, talk to me direct, then you want to say directly, straight, this is how it is. And so that's what that's what she does. And so the attorneys that John retained would probably have somebody like that, is essentially what I'm saying. So they build their whole team together in order to attack these different places. That's why John would go immediately to them to get not only those resources, but to connect in a way that we're already, and Mike Bynum would have known this. That's why he called them on behalf of the Ramseys. Mike Bynum would have known not only are we connected with the governor so you can try to get some protection, because we know that Patsy asked, according to one of the articles we just came across, she asked, why aren't you protecting me, or something like that. Or that may be a little bit further down in this one. But she asked, she reached out to the governor or the mayor or somebody in power, is like, why are you not protecting me? So essentially, these people are wealthy and they are connected. And so John says, hey, let me get connected. But it's like, we haven't even established anything yet. This means that John was saying that, number one, Mike Bynum, remember the 26th going into the 27th, Mike Bynum had talked to John Ramsey. And I think somebody else from Access Graphics had called John and said, hey, I think the police are fingering you guys for this crime. They're trying to look at you guys for this crime. Within a day? How did you at Access Graphics get that information? Come on. And why would the cops go to Access Graphics and talk to anybody at Access Graphics and be like, hey, by the way, we're thinking about them for the crime? Could be possible. But then it got back to John. Within a day? My God, you work fast. Within a day, two people said, John, I know how this works. You need to get protection. And then somebody called and confirmed and said, hey, think the police are coming for you. And within a day, you retained counsel and shut it all down. That doesn't make sense, bro. Hatton's partners, Brian Morgan and Lee Foreman, by arguing a controversial intruder theory, won an acquittal in the celebrated 1980 trial of Lee Bibb Lindsley, who was accused of murdering her husband, a prominent Colorado pediatrician. On a ratio of 12-1, child murders are committed by parents or a family member, says FBI veteran Greg McCrary. Ramsey decided that his wife should have her own lawyers, and he retained Patrick Burke and Patrick Furman. 12-1, am I wrong? If I'm a cop, 12-1, am I wrong? For looking at you, I should be looking at you. 12-1? 12-1, those are overwhelming odds. 12-1. Am I wrong? It's more likely that you did it than not. I'm just following the data. Oh, you guys are only looking at me. 12-1. Are you brain dead? 12-1. Overwhelming majority. Of every 12 cases we get, something like that, 13, 12 to 1. The majority of these cases are going to be the parents, and one is going to be left out. What do you mean? Come on. It's 92%. 92%. Yo, I got good intuition here. 12 to 1, I got good intuition. Why are you looking at me? Because 92% of the time it's going to be you. 92% of the time. Where else should I be looking? So all of these people that you are throwing me to when we're talking about a child, 92% of the time, it's going to be you. So I should spend 92% of my time talking to you. That only makes sense. That's what the FBI said. So if I'm following what the FBI said, then I'm doing my job as the Boulder police. So when you come to me talking about, oh, the cops didn't want to do their job, they were inept, this, that, and the third, get that crap out of my face. I am doing my job because I am following up with you. But what you don't like, the problem is, what you don't like is I'm hot on your trail. That's the problem. I'm hot on your trail and I won't get off. You want me to turn you loose and I won't do it because I know it's probably going to be you. That's why you lawyered up fast. I would have to suspect. That's why you had to lawyer up fast, because if they said 92%, if you caught wind of 92% and somebody said, and Mike pulled you to the side and said, look, John, maybe Mike knew, maybe he didn't, but Mike pulled John to the side and said, look, John, I don't know what you got going on in your house. Maybe he knew, maybe he didn't, or based on what you told me on the phone last night or this morning, I might have to suspect that you might be in trouble and you might want to retain counsel quickly, because the cops are going to look at, just in general, the cops are going to look at the parents right off the bat. That's in general. That's right off the rip. But because of maybe what you told me, I don't know if John said anything to him, but, maybe what we've shared here, between, and I think John said in his book, they had a conversation or something like that. He pulled him to the side and had a conversation, or, they spoke. Based off what you told me, it might look a little fuzzy. So you might want to retain some counsel. Come on, man. From the get-go, it's off. From the get-go, it's wrong. Within a week of the murder, a media consultant named Pat Corton was also brought aboard, later to be replaced by Rochelle Zimmer and Lori Wagner. In July, Denver's premier publicist, Charles Russell. Lori Wagner checks, we read that. That was earlier in our analysis of John and Access Graphics articles that we read, but Lori Wagner checks out. And Lori Wagner was one of the people that they were calling up to Access Graphics, and they were getting Lori Wagner, and Lori Wagner was saying, we have no comment. None. We don't have a comment for this case. John, be quiet. And John wouldn't be quiet. John ain't here. Don't call up here asking us about no John Ramsey or nothing with this case. We're mum. John should be quiet. We're protecting him, letting him handle this privately. And John was like, y'all can be quiet if you want to, but I'm going to go on national television and tell y'all a little bit. Come on, John was added to the payroll. In addition to his lawyer's team of private investigators, Ramsey retained the Denver firm of H. Ellis Armstead, as well as a former FBI criminal profiler and 2 handwriting analysts. After the police tried to question Ramsey's first wife in Atlanta, he also hired a lawyer there named James Jenkins. Comparisons are inevitably made to O.J. Simpson, but John Ramsey is far wealthier. And unlike the Simpson Dream Team, Ramsey's lawyers have sought invincibility. Ironically, Two Simpson defenders, Barry Scheck and forensic scientist Henry Lee, have made themselves available to the Boulder DA. Some say in an effort to refurbish their post-Simpson image. The one press conference Haddon's team has permitted the Ramseys in the Boulder Marriott on May 1 was so elaborately orchestrated that it was called the Ramsey Infomercial by Denver Talk radio host Peter Boyles. The Ramsey team of lawyers and publicists stood against a back wall, but the selected reporters had agreed not to question them. It was not the first time that a carefully packaged appearance agreed not to question. What? We will answer any and all questions. Agreed not to question. What is happening here? What are we doing? From the very get-go, you're stopping me, man. And you're lying about it. You're stopping me and you're lying about it. Because I know what you're telling me, but I also know what you're doing. Oh, no, man, any question. Wait, any question. Had backfired. On Sunday, January 5th, media consultant Pat Corton had arranged to have television crews outside of St. John's Episcopal Church in Boulder. During the service, there was a special handout personalized for the Ramsey family, offering prayers for them, says a parishioner who was present. We were appalled because a lot of people had qualms about believing them by then. Outside the church was a throng of photographers waiting to capture a sobbing Patsy exiting on the arm of Barbara Fernie. They totally used the church as a photo opportunity, says the parishioner. The Ramseys' appearance on CNN in Atlanta on January 1st had also raised questions. Why would a grieving couple go on national television while refusing to speak to the police? What did John Ramsey mean by saying, I don't know if it was an attack on me, on my company? 8 months after the murder, to the bafflement of the public, the FBI and the police, Haddon's team has been singularly successful in dissuading Boulder DA Alex Hunter from filing charges. The public perception, whether true or not, is that Hal Haddon can knock out Alex Hunter blindfolded with his hands tied behind his back, says columnist Chuck Green. Hunter's team is led by trial attorney Peter Hofstrom, a former prison guard at San Quentin who has worked with Hunter for 23 years. Can knock you out blindfold? What you mean? That's those are fighting words, I would think. Can knock me out blindfolded? That means that you saying, oh, Alex, as long as Alex was in the game by that point, Alex don't know nothing. Alex can't do nothing. What I need to be scared about? What I need to be scared about Alex Hunter for? Why would I be scared by him? He has nothing. Can't touch me. When you say that about the DA, who is this guy? What does he mean? And I understand you probably got more resources to go toward this case than the government, and that's what makes you, confident in this. But if the man said, essentially telling Alex Hunter, sit down and shut up and stay out of my way, and you just, Alex Hunter, trying to look at every angle, and trying to be fair, and with the intruder theory does seem to make sense. All right. Trip to Muth, Hofstrom's handsome assistant, and Lou Smith, a retired homicide detective. The police followed up their initial ineptitude by rapidly assembling a group of 6 experienced detectives. Led by Tom Wickman, they were Ron Gosage, Jan Harmer, Melissa Hickman, Steve Thomas, and Tom Trujillo. Hofstrom's and Wickman's teams are supposed to be working together in their high security war room, but trust between the two was quickly shattered. Peter Boyles, whose daily coverage of the Ramsey case has won him national celebrity, has an admittedly personal interest. Pioneer talk radio host Alan Berg, his best friend and mentor, was gunned down in 1984 by neo-Nazi thugs. Ramsey lawyers Pat Burke and Lee Foreman represented two of the accused. Boyle says that Alex Hunter, whom he calls Monty Hall of Let's Make a Deal fame, has never met a criminal he thinks is fit for jail. Chuck Green, who calls Alex Hunter Mr. Plea Bargain, has savaged his office as the Hunter Ramsey team. End of part 1. Weird. I am still stuck. I'm gonna be honest with you. Out of all the nonsense that I just heard in terms of like deflect, what are we doing today? Power I to the right. They can't stop it. No need to change it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Power right. Full back motion to the right. We going on count 1. Down, set, hut. I'm not hut. I'm not blue 82, 325. Hut, hard count, hard snap, clap. I'm not doing none of that. I'm in the I formation. I'm a motion my tight end and my fullback to the right. We're going to the right. And my running back is going to get the ball and we're going over the goal line. That's it. You can't stop it. Your defense is trash. Period. That's disrespectful. And with all that disrespect, yet, knowing that Alex Hunter is getting slapped around like this, with all that disrespect, yet, the most alarming and the most jarring thing was this number right here. Oh my God, my baby. Or this number right here. The birds of a feather flock together. Or this number right here. Help! Help! We found her. Here she is. She's right there, John. She's right beside you. The detective hasn't moved. She's right beside you. So if you were trying to make it a little less obvious, that's what you're supposed to do. It's supposed to be less obvious. You and Patsy, you know what? For all of the acting that you guys have, for all the acting that Patsy's done, the fact that you would be peering through your fingers so people can see you, that just pains me that he caught you doing that. That hurts me. That hurts me so much. That should never have happened. Should never have happened. And John, you got caught the same way. You can't even hate on Patsy. You got caught the same way. It's painful, but that's the video. I think there are 5 parts. I cut it up in 5 parts, but that's the video. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Thanks for your involvement. And thanks for contributing to the community. And until next video, take it easy.